should know.
Then I bow down and we go back to the earlier policy.
No,
that's the only answer.
No, it's not like that. That's why we say we are not for a moment saying that, look, there are 3 or 4 considerations which are very important. One, the need to reduce the cash element in the electoral process. Very important.
Reduced,
right? Second, the need to encourage the use of authorized banking channels for that purpose, which is the only way you can reduce the cash element. That's the second consideration. Third, there is a countervailing consideration. Third is incentivizing the use of the banking channels,
which is confidentiality according to us.
And therefore, according to incentivizing the use of the authorized banking channels should therefore result in greater confidentiality. But there is a fourth consideration, which is the need for transparency. And a fifth consideration, which is that this should not become a legitimization of kickbacks and quid pro quo between the power centers, whether in the states or in the center, and people who are really, in that sense, they are benefactors of that power. They are supplicants.
I bow down.
Yes,
I bow down.
So all these. So when the balance is drawn between these, of course, the balance has to be drawn by the legislature and by the executive, not by us. We are quite conscious of that. But it's not therefore that you have an either or. Either you have this or you go back to an entire cash system. You can design another system which does not have the flaws of this system, which really they put a premium on put a premium on opacity. You can still devise a system which balances out in a proportional way. That's the point.
I'll just
how it is to be done is for you to decide. We will not go step into that arena. That's no part of our function.
I'll just respond to after showing the scheme, but let me respond the last point first, which is bothering your lordships, that this might be used as legitimized kickback. Well, first of all, whenever your lordships are considering a piece of subordinate legislature like a scheme.
Because, now these 5 considerations which I have listed out, you must now read in the perspective of how it has been implemented. First, there was a cap that your donation must be related to a percentage of net profits. A percentage of net profits meant that the company must be in a position to have net profits, and that you would donate 5% initially, then it became 7.5% under the 2013 Act. Now what have we done? Now we say that, well, it has nothing to do with whether you have net profits or not. In other words, the company may have 0 profits, it may have 0 turnover, but it gets a donation only it gets a certain income or revenue only for the purpose of the donation. That means
I'll immediately say
that passes muster.
I'll immediately say, and your lordships may clarify that if that is any concern, it's the right concern, that so far as the condition with regard to the profit-making company, that percentage of a net profit, a not profit-making company cannot do it. But I understand, because then it would be used as a shell company. That is one of the objectives. We have removed 230,000 shell companies from the system.
So what will you do then? You will bring about an amendment to the Companies Act?
Let me take your lordships through this.
So you will move an amendment to amend the Companies Act to the effect that...
amending, is a legislative function. I cannot make that.
But you have to move the amendment. If you,
yes, or your lordships may read it accordingly.
No, is the government making a statement that we will amend the Companies Act to bring back the position what it was, namely that this will be only a percentage of the net profit?
No, I'm not saying percentage. I'm saying profit-making company can only donate.
But tell us something. Assuming that it's a profit-making, it may have a 1 rupee profit, it may have a 100 rupee profit.
Yes.
Why would a company, if you don't have a percentage, why would a company, for what conceivable reason would a company donate 100% of its profits? Because you have to take the extreme case.
Yes.
That's why I give you a 1 rupee company passes the threshold that I'm a profit-making company.
I have 2 answers.
I have a 1 rupee profit, but I will donate 100 crores. Why would a company do that? Therefore, when, it can't be that, the government says that, well, it can't be that we lay down under 142 the principle that so long as you're a profit-making company, you can donate as much as you want. The reason why these caps were introduced and that they stood the test of time were for a very legitimate reason. Namely, that you're a company. Your purpose is to carry on business. Your purpose is not to donate to political parties. And if your purpose is not to donate to political parties, you must donate only a small portion of your, assuming that that's an altruistic motive, which is, of course, not so, but we will not go into it because nobody is challenging the 1956 Act provisions, the 2013 Act provisions. We are now looking at today's challenge.
Yes. Well, may I respond to your Lordship's concern? And it's a very valid concern, my Lord. We share that concern. But what was the reason why that was removed? The experience had shown that in a given sector, my Lord, for example, where the business environment should be business friendly, my Lord, in terms of the administrative or political setup, some companies wanted to donate, say, 10% or 15%. Correct? Now, there was a cap, 7.5%. What used to happen was that company would create shell companies. So I would, as a main company, donate 7.5%. And from that shell company, I would donate 7.5% to make it 15. With a view to discourage creation of shell companies, we have said that it is the company doing the business through the managing director, through the board of directors, which are trusted by the shareholders. And therefore, if they want to donate more than 7.5%, let them do it. Let that discretion remain with that. As a government or as a parliament, it's none of our business to prescribe that ceiling. They don't use more than 7.5%. So that was the purpose. The purpose was to disincentivize creation of shell companies to do what they wanted to do. But now you do it.
But that
number two.
You can disincentivize
Number two.
that
Allow me to say
by having narrowly tailored provisions. For instance, that you must carry on business for a certain stipulated period. You must have a certain asset base. You must have a certain turnover. These are all, usually accepted yardsticks under the Income Tax Act to prevent a shell company from carrying on activity. That you must have a certain degree of business turnover, capital, assets before you can donate. That makes sure that you don't have a shell company. You can put all these things in place. There's no difficulty. That will obviate your concern of shell companies.
I bowed. Another thing which weighed with the government, and I'm just trying to satisfy your Lordship's conscience about the positive approach with which, my Lord, we approach this problem.
Mr. Solicitor, we don't have to go into the motives of the government at all.
No, I'm giving the reason.
I mean, the Constitutional Court is no part of our function to deal with motives. I mean,
no, certainly. Your Lordships may even deal with
this is the rough and tumble of democracy in the country. I entirely respect. That's why we have this freedom of speech that all of us have in the court, outside the court. So we respect that process.
Which many a time
but the point really is this. The point really is not that. We don't want to go back now to a cash-only system. No, that's not the purpose of the court. All that we are saying is that do it in a proportional, tailor-made manner which takes care of the serious deficiencies of this.
Now, my Lord, another factor which weighed with the government while coming out this no cap policy was that if some party wants to donate more than 7.5% and they do not wish to have a shell company also, what would be I'm posing a question to myself, what the company will do?
They will not donate.
No, that's the first idealistic option. But that was not, that didn't used to happen. What they used to do was, the balance, they want to donate 10%. The balance 3.5% would come in cash. Now, at least, if they donate 10%, the clean money comes in the system.
Which is not to say that the unclean money is not coming into the system.
See, we are in fact going into there are two conflicting rights in a way coming from. One is confidentiality, the other is check on kickbacks or quid pro quo. These last times,
I would, my Lord, earnestly urge, dealing with a subject, my Lord, which is bothering everyone, my Lord, to start with a presumption that every contribution should necessarily be a part of corruption may perhaps be a wrong, my Lord, way of, my Lord, looking at things. It may be that in some cases it can be quid pro quo, in some cases. But, my Lord, the experience have suggested that in most cases, whoever donates, donors, be it individual contractor, businessman, company, trust, HUF, etc., they donate which kind of a government they want. Maybe out of 110, maybe kickbacks. I'll address that kickback part also.
But would that be valid if a company were to donate even 100% of its revenue? Is that guided by altruistic motives? We quite see everybody doesn't donate, with as a kickback. Not at all.
Therefore, my lord, kindly, my lord,
And
do
we
not
also have
this.
companies. We also have companies. All companies cannot be tarred with the same brush in India. You have corporate sector which has contributed to the productive assets of the nation.
But
We're
look,
not.
they have
We're not at all saying that our
contributed
corporate
to
sector
the
is therefore
development
tainted.
of the
You
nation.
shouldn't make that assumption.
Well, only a minute, Mr. Sibal. There was something personal, not. It was not a fun or humor. my lord. Out of concern, I asked something. So the idea was that instead of either shell company or paying by cash, let clean money come into the system, and my lord, clean money has come into the system. Second, whether we like it or not, my lord, industrial houses, commercial houses, corporations, companies, they have, my lord, immensely helped, my lord, in the development of the nation. And now, my lord, as I have shown,
That's what I just said. That we don't.
so
start with the
everyone, my
assumption
lord,
that our
does
corporate
not pay
sector
by
is
kickbacks
tainted.
to my lord, believe that they need electoral bonds to be used or any other factor to be used to influence the decision making would be, my lord, shutting an eye on the reality. Without that also, my lord, that can be done. And possibly practically, despite, my lord, this white channel being available, both channels might be used by some companies which are, my lord, not kind of good companies. But good companies, my lord, do decide to donate based upon their experience, whether in this regime of the political government, my investment is safe or not, whether the country is going forward or going backward, whether I am.
All right, Mr. Solicitor, we now understand this.
But
Can we do this to sort of to carry the dialogue further? Should we go straight to the scheme? Because we'd like to hear you on the scheme.
Page 25.
Let's have a look at the scheme
Page
so that
25.
your argument on the scheme will be of value to us. This we have now seen that
Because your
you
lordships
have made your
have-
point, no doubt about it.
Not kindly, your lordships have the challenge to a provision which gives away or does away with the cap. I have given my answer for your lordships to. I think I am clear.
Yes, of course.